There's a reason the narcissistic fear is coming up for you, and it's not what you think it is. If you've ever thought, what if I'm a narcissist and I just don't know it? That fear didn't come out of nowhere. Your brain didn't throw a dart at random, it picked this fear on purpose. And today I'm going to tell you why. Hi, everyone. Here we are again for part 4 of this narcissism series and why it's actually OCD. In today's episode, I'm talking to you about these tricks that OCD is playing on you. It is totally being sneaky, and we're not going to let it play these tricks anymore. So picture this, you're sitting in the car with your partner and you guys have just had a disagreement. You defended yourself very strongly. Your voice got loud, or you felt very defensive, but now you're replaying back this conversation, focusing on how you immediately didn't see their side, and your brain suddenly pops up this thought of a narcissist would do exactly that. And then down the rabbit hole you go. But why, narcissism specifically? Why not worry about being selfish or stubborn or just having a bad day? And the thing is, this is how OCD works. It's like a heat seeking missile on your core values because it targets what matters to you most. And so for you, you deeply value being kind, considerate, empathetic. But OCD will make you question all of that. And in our current culture, narcissism is the ultimate label that makes someone seem toxic, unfriendly, or undesirable. And none of that you want. And the other tricky part about this narcissism fear is that the more things you do for the fear, like researching online, taking narcissistic tests, analyzing past conversations for signs of narcissism, or comparing yourself to descriptions of narcissism, you're actually doing compulsions. These actions only temporarily relieve your anxiety, but they ultimately reinforce the obsession. It makes you go deeper into that OCD bubble. And each time you are doing a compulsion, you're actually telling your brain that this question deserves serious consideration because this fear might be valid. You don't trust in who you really are, and that's why you're investigating. And you are so busy reading hundreds of articles trying to confirm that you're not a narcissist, but yet you still wake up the next day with the same fear. So, this is one of the ways that the OCD keeps you stuck. Here are some other ways that this narcissistic OCD fear comes up in the day-to-day life. You're analyzing your tone of voice. Did I sound condescending? Did I dominate the conversation? In your friendships, you're wondering, am I being too attention seeking? Am I talking about myself too much? Am I manipulating my friends? Am I manipulating my partner? You're second guessing compliments you're giving because you're wondering if that was just a performance to get people to like you, or you're avoiding conflict at all costs because you don't want to come across as controlling or abusive at work. You're dealing with all kinds of imposter syndrome. You've got this fear of not wanting to get promoted or share your accomplishments because what if you're just doing that for attention? Or you're worrying about stealing credit from someone and looking manipulative or manipulating people in meetings. Like there's so much fear wrapped up into like, am I leading or persuading or manipulating? And your brain tends to lean on the manipulating part. You also avoid leadership roles because you don't want to come across as like power hungry or arrogant. Then on top of that, you're constantly checking within yourself if you really care about your colleagues or you really care about your friends or your family. Like the internal experience, it could even sound like, did I enjoy that compliment too much? Am I helping people because I care, or am I just narcissistic? Or you're panicking over some type of like confidence that you're experiencing or pride, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, is this part of like a narcissistic personality? You give yourself a guilt trip of wondering like, am I being self-centered? You may have also found yourself in this boat of not posting things on social media because you don't want people to think you're self-absorbed, or you're deleting content over and over because of shame. It felt too arrogant, too haughty. And then you're reading comments for signs that people think you're being self-centered. So all of these things are the obsessions. And what we discussed before was the compulsions. And this is how that narcissistic fear is taking hold. And just so you know, you are not selfish. It's just your brain has convinced you of a story that is not true. You are not manipulative just because you stated a boundary or a need. Through it all, OCD doesn't attack things that are meaningless. If anything, it attacks things that are meaningful and matter most to you. If you've ever felt like you've tricked someone into liking you, deep down, you're not a narcissist. You're likely a good person. You might just have OCD that is trying to make you feel like you're a narcissist. So just when you think you've got the OCD figured out, it will shapeshift again. In the next episode, I'm going to break down those sneaky tricks OCD uses to keep you stuck. So even when you think you're doing the right thing, once you see this pattern, you can stop playing the game. Thanks, y'all, and have a great week.